Hi, my name is Father Mike Schmitz, and I'm here with Ascension Presents. So, I do this all the time, don't I? I do. You know, it's one of those things that I find a lot of people will accuse Catholics of having this kind of sense of being preoccupied with guilt. And that's probably relatively accurate, but it's funny, whenever you watch a TV show or see a movie where they're talking about Catholic guilt, Catholic guilt this, Catholic guilt that. It's funny, my mom always says, there's nothing Catholic about guilt, it's just guilt. If you've done something wrong, then you should feel guilty, right? I mean, that's kind of how it goes. And I want to talk about that, though, because there's a difference, I think, between guilt and shame. Guilt, a lot of times you might hear people say this, the guilt is feeling bad about what you've done, Whereas shame is when you feel bad about who you are. And sometimes that's a good way to divide it, but I think that, I was listening to some psychologists talk about this, and they said they didn't think that it was accurate enough. They made the distinction, and they said this, they said, guilt is an awareness of having violated some objective standard. I'm going to say that again, it sounds complicated. Guilt is the awareness of having violated some objective standard. I'm supposed to be nice to people, I'm supposed to be polite, and I wasn't polite. I violated that objective standard. I'm guilty of that. I'm guilty of being rude. Now, that can either be true or it can be false. It can be true or it can be toxic in the sense of, there was a real standard and I really violated it, versus a false standard, or there was a real standard but I didn't really violate it. Sometimes we get that mixed up. And so we feel guilty about stuff that we haven't even done. We haven't even done wrong. We don't need to feel guilty about. Shame, on the other hand, is an awareness of having failed in someone else's eyes. See, when it comes to guilt, it's me against the standard, and it's kind of internal. But shame it can eat us up because it involves others, whether that other be God, whether that other be my family or friends, but it's an awareness of having failed in someone else's eyes. That also can be accurate or it can be false. Sometimes we think that we've done something wrong, we think that we failed in someone else's eyes, and we haven't. So the question is this, when it comes to guilt, when it comes to shame, what's the remedy? What do we do with it? Well, I think that when it comes to guilt, if it's an awareness of having violated some objective standard, then what I have to do is I just have to tell the truth. And that's what confession's all about. I mean, it's saying, okay, here's what I've done. I'm admitting it, I'm acknowledging it, I'm confessing it. Especially when we're connected to God's grace and the sacrament of confession. I mean, it's freedom. But when it comes to shame, we can confess something and now the guilt is gone, the sin is gone, I've been forgiven of it, but I still feel the shame. Why? Remember, because shame is having an awareness of having failed in someone else's eyes. So it's how I'm perceived. When it comes to shame, one of the remedies has to do with other people, has to do with relationships. There was a priest from Africa who recently visited my diocese, and he was telling a group of parishioners about how there's a lot of violence in his home villages and a lot of violence in the place where he is. And one of the terrible things that happens is in the midst of this violence, some of these, I guess you call them rebels or whatever, will take women, older women, younger women, and just violently abuse them and sexually abuse them and rape them and whatnot, and then bring them back, give them back to the community. And you can imagine the kind of shame. I mean, there's no guilt there because those women they didn't do anything wrong, but you can imagine the shame. I've been disgraced, I've been shamed in the eyes of everyone else. But what they do in these villages, it's remarkable. They will welcome these women back to their community with just absolute joy and absolute acceptance, and just this sense of we want you, you're part of us, you're received back into. And so these women, while they have memories and they have these terrible trauma, they don't have shame because of the fact that the people gather around them and they give them love and they show them that they're wanted and that they have not failed in their eyes, that they don't look at them in any different way. So that's what I'm just going to invite you to do. If you have an awareness of some guilt, you know what you need to do. You need to tell the truth about it. If I've done something wrong, if I failed some objective standard, then I need to go to confession. But sometimes we have a deeper wound, and that deeper wound is shame. One of the things you can do is you can reveal that wound. And now I'm not saying go spread it around the internet or whatever, but I'm saying someone you can really trust to reveal that wound and to ask them, I tell them, I've been carrying a lot of shame with this. I feel like I'm a failure in other people's eyes. And I need to be reminded that I'm not a failure. I need to be reminded that I'm more than this. You are not the sum of your weaknesses or failures or sins. You are the sum of the Father's love for you and your capacity to be an image of Jesus Christ to the world. That's a quote from St. John Paul the Great. There is no need for a Christian to live in shame. So many of us do. But you have been received into this community, into the family of God. You are loved and you are treasured.